it's Karen with Yes Please PaperCrafts, and in this video I'm going to be creating a scrapbook layout. And so for this one I just wanted to use this new punch from Creative Memories. It's called On the Road, and it's part of the Creative Memories border maker system, and it creates a border with little cars and trucks, and I just think it's so adorable, and I just love this punch so much. Okay, so I did start this layout when I was in a virtual crop with some of the folks in my Facebook group, and I think this was the first online crop or get together that we did. I didn't film any of the process when I was in the crop, and so I'm starting off in this video with where I left off. And I didn't really get a whole lot done in that crop, but we talked and chatted and scrapbooked for about 3 hours, and the time just flew by. And it was so much fun to be able to meet everyone and see people's faces and just get to know each other and do a little scrapbooking. So since I'm a pretty slow scrapbooker, I kind of figured I wasn't going to get a whole lot done, but it still was a lot of fun. And while I was there chatting with everyone, I did manage to do a few things for this layout. I created my border with some black cardstock using the punch, and then I also picked out some pattern papers from the Craft Smart Born to Travel paper pad, and also created a title using some light blue puffy alphas from an old Hip Kit club. So I did start filming this the following day when I got together with some of my friends for our weekly get together. So you will probably see me chatting with my friends and sharing things with them as this video kind of goes on. But I did take about 3 days to create this layout. I started it in the online crop with the Facebook group. Then I worked on it some more the next day when I met up with my friends. And then I finally finished it the day after, so it took me about 3 days. Sometimes layouts just take a long time to do, and so this was one of those. So I thought about actually using the title Out and About for Mother's Day, and so that's what you see me doing here. I'm kind of playing around with these stickers, but I ended up not using them because I thought it looked really busy, especially since I was using the paper down there at the bottom of my layout that had all those little cameras. And so I'm going to end up not using the stickers, and my title is just going to be Out and About. The pictures I'm using for this layout are from Mother's Day, when my sister and I took my mom to the Gulf Coast in Mississippi, and we drove up and down along the beach drive there, which runs parallel to the beaches. And so these pictures were taken in the car, and we did decide to go to the beach because we wanted to get out somewhere, and it was still kind of in lockdown mode here at the time. So we decided that for Mother's Day we would take my mom to the beach, and so that's what we did. So that's the reason why I decided to use this car and truck border punch, because we were in the car most of that entire day, and my title is Out and About. Because this is probably the first time we had any type of outing since probably the middle of March. And so we did want to get out of the house. And it was kind of fun hanging out together, even if we were just driving in the car. It was such an awesome day. We did actually find a little place that we stopped, and it was right next to the beach. It was kind of like a picnic area, and we had drinks, and my sister brought this huge bottle of bubbles and a bubble wand. And we had a lot of fun playing with that. But after we did that, we did drive down the beach some more. And I think we went through Long Beach, Gulfport, and Biloxi. And we did eventually find a seafood restaurant that had curbside pickup. And so we got some seafood, and we took our car down by the beach and sat in the car and ate our dinner. And so it was a really fun day, and we got to spend some time with my mom to celebrate Mother's Day. And I just wanted to scrapbook these pictures, and I thought this would be the perfect opportunity for me to try out this new punch. And so you are going to get to see me using the punch later in this video, because I did punch out more borders, and I ended up cutting some of the little cars out to use as embellishments. Okay, so now I'm going to look through some of my papers and trying to figure out which paper to use to make more mats for my pictures. I had already matted my pictures with some white cardstock, but I really didn't feel like it was standing out enough against the background. And so I wanted to add another mat behind my pictures, and I pulled out some black and pink cardstock. And also I pulled out this Born to Travel paper pad, and I'm going to look through that again. And then I also found this sticker book that is from Craftsmart, and it's a travel sticker book. It's one of the hot buy items from Michaels. They just recently started selling those last year, and they had a whole bunch of different sticker books when I went, but I just picked up this one because I loved that it was all travel themed. And so the first 4 pages of stickers in this sticker book match the Born to Travel paper pad, and the rest of the stickers actually go with other Craftsmart paper pads. So I think it's really cool that Michael started selling hot buy sticker books to go along with their hot buy paper pads, and it really does give you some things that you can use to embellish your layouts when you're working with these paper pads from Michaels. Okay, so the first thing that I found from this sticker book is this camera that says snapshot. I put that onto some white cardstock, and I'm going to fussy cut that out. So these stickers are a little thin, and some of them are also a bit transparent. And so I find that by putting them onto some white cardstock, it just makes them a little bit easier to work with. And I really don't mind fussy cutting because that's one of my favorite things to do. I also found 3 smaller cameras, one of which was a little Polaroid, which I thought was really cute. And then I found a couple of pairs of shoes, and even though we didn't do a lot of walking that day, I thought it would be a cute embellishment to use for this out and about layout. I really wish I could have found a 3rd pair of shoes, but I'm going to try to find something else to use a little bit later. So I'll be making 3 clusters on this layout, and I wanted to put a camera and a pair of shoes in each cluster. And I was also looking for some stickers that I could use to make flare buttons. I found this one round sticker that had a pink background with a camera and then another smaller camera. And I got out my button maker and a punch. This punch is a 1 1/3 inch circle punch, which is the size that you need to make buttons. And so I just stuck those stickers down onto some white printer paper and punched those out. I do find that the thinner paper actually works much better with the button maker because the paper gets crimped underneath and in between the 2 metal pieces when the button is made, and so just using a thinner paper actually works a lot better. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut out the rest of these little cameras and also the little shoes. I'm not going to show you all of that fussy cutting because that might get a little boring. I did actually create a video and give some tips on fussy cutting, so if you're interested in that, I will leave a link in the description below to that video. Okay, so let's go ahead and skip ahead to the next part of this layout. So I did want to kind of create a border between the, or more separation between that car and truck border and then the pattern paper there. And at first I thought I would use this piece of paper. It came from the cut apart in the paper pad, and it's just a blue paper with polka dots. And I thought I would use that kind of to separate the 2 pieces. But I didn't really like the way it looked. It didn't really suit the look and feel of the layout and what I was going for here. And so I got out some washi tape, and I'm looking through this different washi tape to try to see if I can find something that would kind of just add a little bit of detail and kind of make the edge between those 2 pieces look more finished. So I did find this washi tape, and it has a gold and clear strip, like diagonal stripes at the bottom, and then some numbers, and then the top of the washi tape has kind of like almost like a tie-dye look with greens and blues. And I decided that I would not use that part of it because it doesn't really go with this layout. I love this washi tape, but I will often trim off parts of it and just use either the gold stripe part or just use the numbers and the stripe part and just eliminate the top of it. It's a really pretty washi tape, and I think I picked that up at Michael's. They had it in on clearance for, I think it was a whole bunch of washi tape, 4 for $1 or something. And so I picked up quite a few of these ones with the with that gold stripe. I just think it's really pretty. So I wanted to add another mat behind these pictures, and so I ended up going ahead and rematting the pictures to put them onto a single piece of white cardstock. And then I'm using this pink paper and creating a mat. Now when I started out creating this mat, I think I started with a 1/4 inch layer guide here, and then I realized that it was crooked, and so I ended up just trimming it down to the next size, which is a 1/8 inch. And I thought that looked okay, and I was okay with that size. And I just wanted to have a different color there just to kind of give it a little bit more separation between the pictures and that busy paper that had the little cameras. So if you're interested in learning more about how to use these We Are Memory Keepers layering guides, I did create a video sharing with you some tips and tricks for using these. So if you're interested in seeing that video, I will put a link in the description below for that one as well. Okay, so I finally got this mat looking good. I think I might need to change my blade because I was having quite a bit of trouble doing that. I also find that when I'm making mats and using those layering guides, if I'm distracted, like I probably was here when I was talking with my friends, I don't do as good of a job because I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing. So that probably didn't help too much that I was kind of distracted. Okay, so I decided to make my title go up and down along the tops of the trucks and cars. And I really thought that was cute because it gave a lot of movement to my title and kind of made, I just thought it was a fun touch for this layout to make the title kind of wonky and kind of go along with the cars and trucks. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and mat this other photo that's going to go there at the top. And I did create a bigger mat there. I just wanted to put more color and kind of give emphasis to that picture. I did think about putting an additional black mat underneath, but I kind of thought, well, that might be a little bit too heavy there at the top of the layout, especially since I had that black chipboard piece that says, "Let's do this." And I had planned to kind of layer that on top of that picture. And I thought that if I put a black mat there, it might make the layout look a little heavy there at the top. Okay, so I'm going to play around quite a bit with all of these little cameras and shoes and just different pieces, trying to figure out, kind of where my clusters are going to be and how I can lay these pieces out to kind of make sure I get a camera in each cluster and a pair of shoes in each cluster and make it look like everything kind of goes together. And so I'm kind of struggling a little bit because I had a bunch of little bitty pieces and not really anything else to go with it. And so that's kind of giving me a little bit of a hard time there. So I decided to go back and look through my papers, and I came up with this idea to create banners along the top of the layout in the top left-hand corner. I thought it would be really cute. I just love adding banners to a layout with travel and cars. And I just think it's really a fun kind of element, and it kind of adds something to the layout that just, makes me happy. I'm not really sure what it is. It's just, banners are kind of like celebration. And when you see banners out and about when you're there, it's usually a party or something going on. So I think adding banners across the top of a layout makes it look really festive. And so I just went through this Born to Travel paper pad, and I'm using this EK Tools punch that is a banner punch, and I just punched out the banner in all different patterns of paper and also some cardstock. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and rough up the edges of all these little banners using the Stampin' Up! Distress tool. And I'm also going to use my scissors there to get into all of the little nooks and crannies. It's kind of hard to get that distress tool into really tight spaces, and I find that sometimes you can use your scissors to do that. I did cut out quite a bit of the video showing you the distressing because it took me a lot of time to do that distressing, but I think it was well worth it because I just think it really adds another texture to the layout. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and create some more of these borders using this car and truck border punch from Creative Memories. I just think that that punch is just too cute. I just love it, and I know that it's very specific and it's kind of a themed punch. I'm not sure what all I can use this for, but I just really liked it, and so I just decided to go ahead and pick it up. And I'm so glad I did, because I really do think that I'm going to use this on a lot of different layouts. Okay, so I had an idea to use this white gel pen to write some dashed lines on this border strip to make it kind of look like it was the road. And I thought about doing 2 lines, and I thought, well, that really makes it look less like the road than just using the one dotted line. And I just was practicing there, and this is where I'm going to just cut out some of those little cars. And I also punched out some in a pink color and also a gray color. And I just decided that I would do some of these border strips and then use some of these little cars on my layout. And you can see there that I just cut around the wheels. Some of them I didn't even really cut around the wheels because I'm going to tuck them under things. And so I didn't really even need to do that. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do here is to go through the sticker book again. I was looking for something else to use that had shoes on it, and so I found that little round sticker that had a pair of shoes, also a round sticker that had a purse, and then another one with a flower. And I'm going to use a circle punch and just punch those out. And I also decided that I would take this cut apart, and I punched out all of these circle elements as well. Although I ended up not using any of those on my layout, they were really cute, and I'm going to save them for another layout. But you can see there all of the really cute embellishments I made just with using that paper and a circle punch. So I decided that I would go ahead and rough up the edges of these different circles that had the stickers there, and just thought that was really cute. Okay, so here's where I'm trying to work out how I'm going to kind of build this banner. I wanted to layer it and put some of the banner pieces on top of the others. And I also wanted to make sure I didn't like have 2 of the navy pieces next to each other. I wanted to kind of separate the colors and patterns, and just kind of see if I could get that to look the way I wanted it to. And I took a picture because I wanted to make sure that once I started pulling it apart, to get it glued down, that I would remember how I had it, because I don't know how many times this has happened to me before, where I would, spend all this time arranging something and getting it just perfect the way I wanted it to, and then I move things to glue it down, and then I can't remember how I had it. So I like to take my phone and just take a picture, and then I can just set my phone there and look at my phone as a reference to kind of put it back together as I'm gluing this down. And sometimes I don't always put it back together exactly the same way, but it gives me kind of a visual reference for how I kind of had it, when I said, oh yeah, this looks good, this is what I want, I'm going to lay it out this way, and then that way I can put it back together. And so that worked out pretty well. I also did put some foam tape on the back of that camera that said snapshot. And I'm going to also be using some chipboard pieces, and I had that chipboard that says documented. I think that was really cool up there because it kind of brought the black up to that part of the layout. And then I added the little pair of shoes up there as well, and then a sticker that said hello world. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start gluing down my pictures here. I decided to kind of tuck this picture underneath the border. I kind of thought that was cool because the dashboard of the car kind of just, I don't know, it just makes it look like you're kind of on the road when you're looking at that, and you look at the cars and trucks and then you see the road in the distance. I just thought that had a really cool effect, and so I'm going to go ahead and tuck that picture kind of underneath the border there. I did kind of want it to be lined up with the pictures underneath, but I knew it wasn't going to be perfect because I actually had a larger border around the picture at the top than the pictures at the bottom, and so I just kind of centered it, and I knew that it wasn't going to be lined up perfectly, but I really thought it was cute the way it came out. Okay, so I'm going to tuck one of those little black cars underneath that sticker there, and you can see I didn't even really cut around the wheels. I just cut that piece off, and it actually gave me something to attach that little car to underneath that sticker. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and take this white gel pen, and I made these dotted or dashed lines all the way along this border. I thought that was a really cool effect, and I did have a lot of black there in the middle of the layout, and so I just wanted to kind of break up the black a little bit, so that gave me a really a good way to do that. Now, as I was looking at this, I thought, well, I still have a lot of black there between where I put the dashed lines and my washi tape. What if I was to take this gel pen and write some journaling there? And so, yeah, it was kind of scary, but I did. I just took my pen and started writing, and I got really lucky because my journaling fit perfectly. I didn't misspell any words, and I didn't mess up. So I was super happy that I got journaling on this layout, and I just loved the way that that came out. I'm really not too good at journaling. I usually, will mess up my layout when I add journaling, and so I tend to not put journaling on a layout just because I'm afraid of it. But I'm really happy that I did that because I thought it was really, really cute. And I just loved the way that that looked. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and I was trying to figure out exactly the city that I was in when we took these pictures. And so I was kind of looking up the name of the road and some information there, and also the date. And I thought about adding more journaling, but I thought, well, I think I'll just leave it alone because I'm going to be building a cluster there at the top, above that picture. I'm also going to be building a cluster underneath the journaling there around the title. And so I really didn't want to add more there because I was afraid that, I would, you wouldn't be able to see it because I'd end up covering it up with my embellishments. And I did have a little bit of a challenge trying to get the embellishments on there because I had to make sure that it went where I wanted it to go, but didn't cover up any of my journaling. So I'm just going through and taking more of these little cars, and some of them I did actually cut out the wheels. This one in particular, I cut the wheels out because I wanted to layer it on top of that chipboard piece. And then other ones, I didn't actually cut the wheels off because it was going to be tucked under something. And here I'm just looking for another color paper. I thought about, maybe using a different color there instead of the pink or the black. I wanted something that was different than the pink, but would stand out against that black. And I don't know why, but I did this one. It's like a navy blue paper with polka dots. And so I created a border with that, and looked when I cut the car out and layered it there on top of that. I did not like how that looked. It did not stand out enough up against the background, and no matter where I put it, it just did not look right. So I ended up going back to using the black car there at the top, and I'll use the pink car there. I think what I ended up doing here is I found some white cardstock, and I just used some white cardstock and created a white car. Okay, so this is where I'm going to take just a piece of scrap paper here and use my border punch to make some little cars in using this white cardstock. And so I liked having the different colors there because I wanted different colors in each cluster. And since I already had the pink car there at the top right hand side where I had that chipboard piece, I wanted to use a different color there in that cluster underneath the title. Alright, so I'm taking this T-square ruler and just trying to line that up, and I don't know why I'm doing that because it's never going to line up because it's not the same size as the picture above it, but I just was trying to figure out a way to get that to where it looked right, and so I finally just kind of eyeballed it and I got it on there, and I think it looks really cute. I don't think you notice it as much either because of that cluster with the green shoes kind of covers up the corner of the picture, and so you don't really notice that the picture at the top of the layout is a little bit bigger than the ones at the bottom. Alright, I also added a circle. I guess I did use one of those circles with the gold. I put it there with that word documented, that chipboard piece, and that's a little gold circle that has the word smile. and it just brought up some gold to that part of the layout. And also I like the kind of that saying, documented smile. Sometimes I like to read my layouts. I think it's fun when you put all these little words on there. And after you finish your layout, you might go back later. And if you start reading it, you'll see that sometimes it kind of makes a little story. And so here it says, documented smile, snapshot. Hello world, let's do this. Out and about. So, and then get out and explore. And then I think, trying to remember what that other one over there says, but I can't read it. It's too tiny. But there's a little chipboard piece that I put on the top of that picture there, and it says something else. So I just think that's fun to kind of, have all these little bitty words on your layout. And if you pick things that kind of go with your layout, with your story, and kind of with the mood of what you're trying to create, a lot of times it does create a little story. And I just think that's fun to read my layout sometime. Okay, I did decide to use this flare button. It's a flare button that has it's the one I created with the pink background and the camera. And I used an open backed button piece, and so it didn't have a back on it. And I just layered some foam tape in there, and just to kind of make sure that I could have a place to actually attach that to my layout. All right, this layout is getting pretty close to done. And as I was looking at this, I was kind of thinking, should I add anything else? Do I want to put some enamel dots? And I really decided that I think I had enough little small things on here, and I didn't really want to add even more to this. And so I ended up not using any enamel dots, which is very unusual for me because I use enamel dots or gemstones or something on just about every single layout that I do. But on this layout, I just decided that I would not do that. I think that it didn't really need it. There was just so many little details in this layout that I just think it would have detracted from it. And so I just decided not to do it. Okay, so I wanted to put on this layout something about Mother's Day and then the date. And so I decided that I would create a little banner piece to go on the layout at the bottom there next to that bottom picture. And so I'm going to go ahead and write out the date and use my paper trimmer to kind of cut this out. And I'm going to turn it into like a little banner that I could tuck underneath the picture. And the only thing that I wish that I would have done differently for this part of the layout was that when I wrote out the word Mother's Day, I used upper and lowercase. And when I did that, the Y's were sticking out, down because you're writing down because the Y is going below all the other letters. And so in order to not chop that off, I had to make that piece bigger than I really wanted to. So I kind of wish I would have made Mother's Day in all caps. And I would have probably liked that a little bit better. And I might go back and change it. I think that I did not glue that down. I just have it kind of on there with some ATG. So I could probably go back and change that and just, make it the same size as the banner underneath with the date. I think I would probably like that better. I did go ahead and distress the edges of this, and it kind of gave it a really cool look because it was white around the edges of that black cardstock. It wasn't, it was like a white core, so that was kind of cool. And I really like the way that turned out. It also brought some black down there at the bottom of my layout and kind of drew more attention to the pictures down there at the bottom. I just wanted to add a little bit more pink to the bottom of my layout there, and so I added one of those little pink cars. And I just love that these cars are going in different directions. So I have the cars on the right side of my layout are driving towards the left side, and the cars on the left side of the layout are driving toward the right side. So I think it's fun that they're going in different directions. And here I'm just going to glue this stuff down and try to arrange these things in this cluster so that it looks good and it doesn't cover up any of my journaling. I also did add some foam tape to one of the shoes to kind of pop one of those up and give it some more dimension. And I'm going to add foam tape to the circle as well. And I love adding foam tape because I think it really helps to make the cluster more cohesive if you have your embellishment at different levels. So some of the embellishments are flat, some are chipboard, and some have foam tape. And so I really love doing that. I think it gives a lot of dimension to the layout and it makes it more interesting to look at. I also added some foam tape to the top of this little car because when I glue this down, part of it is going to be on the chipboard, but the top of the car was kind of hanging over, and so I added the foam tape there to kind of support the top of that car. Okay, so let's see what else. I'm going to go ahead and put some foam tape onto this camera and kind of pop that up. And you'll notice that I just put foam tape on one side of the camera so that I could tuck the other side underneath that chipboard piece. And sometimes I'll do that. I like to have dimension, but then sometimes it's hard to overlap your pieces if you put foam tape on the entire piece. And so if you put it just on one side of an embellishment, then you can tuck the other side under something and it still gives it some dimension. I'm going to go ahead and glue this car to this little banner and go ahead and tuck that underneath the picture there. And I just really love how that added kind of a little bit more detail to the bottom of my layout, and it draws your eye down there to those pictures. So I do have a short video clip of my two dogs, Bella and Lilybell, at the end of this video if you want to stick around for that. I also have some close-ups of this layout that I'm going to share with you at the end of this video. So that's all I have, and I hope y'all did enjoy this scrapbook process video. And if you did, please give this video a like. And if you're not already subscribed and you would like to see more videos, please subscribe. I would love to have you join my channel. So that's all I have. Y'all take care and have an awesome week, and I'll see you next time. Bye now. Hi girls, what y'all doing? Mama just finished her layout. Would you like to see it? Miss Bella, do you want to pose? Miss Lilybell, you want to get in there? Y'all can take a picture with me. I went to the beach with Grandma and Aunt Terry, and we drove in the car and I made that layout. Isn't that cool? Do you like it? Is it a good layout, Miss Bella? What you think? You don't like it? Because you didn't get to go? I'm sorry, we could have brought you. Yeah, we could have. We stayed in the car and we stayed by the beach the whole time. I know. You missed out and you didn't get to go. Well, I'm going to have to find out where the doggy beach is in Mississippi so I can take you to the beach. You gonna come over here so I can see you? Lilybell, would you like to go to the beach? Have y'all ever been to the beach? I don't know if I've ever taken you to the beach. Maybe once. Oh yeah, we did go to the beach. Yeah, I did take you once. Quiet voice, please, okay? can we be quieter about talking? You did go to the beach. You went to the beach in Vanderbilt. And then we went out to a restaurant and you got to eat. That was nice. Yeah, you got to order from the menu. Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, we'll have to try to do that again soon. Okay, so are y'all ready for dinner? Are you hungry? Yeah. I guess I can feed y'all. Would you like to eat dinner, Lilybell? Yeah? Okay. So can you say bye now to everybody? Well, that doesn't sound like a goodbye. That sounds like whining. Shh. No. Behave. No whining allowed. Sit. Good girl. Shh. Shh. Okay, can you say bye now and I'll feed you? Say bye now. No? Bella, can you say bye? She's like, you just told me to stop talking. Okay, she said bye now, and we'll see you next time. And hope y'all have an awesome week. Yeah. Okay, bye guys.